Morning, this is Brian. Today is Friday, June 6, 2025, and I'm here in Flinn Springs County Park, near where El Cajon and Lakeside meet. And today, my goal is to get up to 2 peaks in the area. I want to get up to 1680, an unnamed and even uncharted peak on the topo maps, and peak 1833, which is also known as Flinn Springs Peak. So those are my 2 goals for today. I'm here at the park. Now I gotta go see if I can navigate my way towards the ball fields and find the trail. So wish me luck in navigating my way through this park. So I'm taking my trekking pole with me today, because I know it's going to be steep. These are very steep trails. And now my first task is to find the ball field. At the end of the ball field will be trails leading up into the hills. Alright, let's see. Can't tell where I am from here. So let's see. Can't even tell where I am. That's over by where the cafe is. So I assume that I'm somewhere over here. Yeah, I'm over here. So gotta go head south. I gotta go head southwest to the ball field. So let's see if I can manage to do that. Okay, here I go. There's even a creek going right now. Wow, very nice. Nice old sycamore here, California sycamore. Let's see. Just gotta go find my way to the ball fields. Let's see how successful I am in my hunt. Ooh, nice little waterfall here too. Wow. How cool is that? Little cascade over here. Alright. There's some stuff up there. I think those are picnic areas, but let me see if I can get over there somehow. Ooh, got a desert willow in full bloom. Yes, indeed. Calopsis linearis subspecies arquata. Yes. Really cool. It's native to our far inland communities and our deserts. Very handsome. Very handsome. So let's see. Try to navigate my way to the ball fields. The park itself is a nice adventure. There's a gazebo, wedding gazebo. So yeah, just navigating through the park itself is part of the adventure. I have a feeling my shoes are going to get wet today, just like my shoes did the other day. Lots of awesome coast live oaks here too. Some larger, older ones, some younger ones, and some Engelmann oak. Oh, and yes, here we go. Yerba mansa. Anamopsis californica grows here too. Must be pretty damp here periodically for these plants to be growing here. All right. Very nice. Still trying to find my way to the ball fields. So we'll see when I get there. We're on some type of dirt road now. Let's see. This leads me over to where I'm trying to go. Haven't seen any ball fields yet. Assuming it's supposed to go between these two here, because they're both across from each other on a saddle, both peaks. Let's see. Haven't seen any ball fields. It seems to be heading me in that direction. Yeah, I brought a trekking pole with me today. I normally don't use them, but I heard it's supposed to be really steep. And I checked the gradient, Google Earth, and it looks very steep. So, I'm gonna probably want to keep these handy. Even the way on the wide dirt track to the saddle between the peaks is supposed to be very steep. Let's see if I am going the right way. See a kiosk up ahead. I think I'm at a junction here. I think this is it. I think the ball fields are down here. Yeah, here are little tiny ball fields. Not much in the way of grass and stuff like that. But I'm here. Here at what I believe is a junction leading up into the hills. MSCP, multiple species of concern, I believe. Yeah, western skink. Cactus wren. Coast horned lizard. Okay, well, let's see. Here we go. Time to climb into the hills. I don't expect this to be a very easy one. So, I'm going to be taking my sweet old time on this one. I'm assuming this is the right way in there. Let's see if this leads into the big canyon where the two peaks rise above it. Let's see. Yeah, we are knee deep in chaparral. Full-blown chaparral. Big berry manzanita. Arctostaphylos glauca. Yes, indeed. I don't know where this is going. It seems to be going downhill, away from the direction I'm trying to head. Let's see if it turns around and curves. It's very mature. Some of this is quite old growth chaparral. Meaning old growth, meaning hasn't been disturbed by fire in quite a while. I've got a lot of scrub oak here. The last couple hikes haven't been coming across a lot of scrub oak. Oh boy. Oh boy. Let's see here. I don't know where this is going. Seems to be going away from that saddle, unless it's supposed to, and it's supposed to curve up. So I'll find out. That's a very nice area of chaparral, I'll tell you that. So let's see if this heads us up into the hills. We've got a lot of yellow rush rose growing here too. Bees are loving it. It's Crocanthemum scoparium. Quite a bit of it around here, actually. All right. I'm hoping this trail curves around and goes up into the hills. Yeah, just like 2 days ago when I hiked up to the Hamul Mountains high point. It's pretty damp, rain layer and drizzle. So my pants are already damp, slightly damp. All right, I don't know where this trail is going, but it's going away. Hope it curves. I'm hoping. We'll see. Just a short update. It is starting to head towards my intended direction. And yes, definitely steep. Definitely steep. So this is a hike not to rush. This would not be a good idea during the summertime. We've got the marine layer right now. So that's good. It's keeping it cooler. But this looks like a hike that would be very hot in the summer. And there's no marine layer. So, and to park at the park, you pay $5, and it doesn't open until 9:30. So, very early starts are not likely to happen if you wanted to do this hike. It's very beautiful though. We got some Quercus acutidens. We might have both Quercus acutidens and Berbertifolia here, possibly. And of course, look out for that Western poison oak on this hike. That's the first patch that I've seen, but so far it's far off enough from the trail. Don't have to worry about it too much. We've got heartleaf beard tongue starting to bloom. Cajon cordifolia. Yeah, I have to catch my breath on this one. This one's definitely a steep workout. We also got Neoridium dumosum bushroot fruiting right now as well. So yes, I think I will be using my trekking poles, especially on the downhill and on the steepest parts. So yeah, this is gonna be a good workout. All right, see you up the way with more updates. So it seems this trail's doing a series of long switchbacks. It's very beautiful here. Very photogenic landscape out here in the chaparral. But like I said, this trail is no joke. This one is steep. This one is going to require you to be patient. Very patient. Yeah, I already kind of knew these peaks would not be easy. So we're just going to take our time, climb up it. I don't really have to rush. Place doesn't close till 7:30. I have most of the day ahead of me, so it's probably about 10 o'clock right now. I got plenty of time. No need to rush. This is going to take a while. But at least you'll have some gorgeous chaparral scenery along with you. so you can take breaks and admire it. All right, on I go. All right, so it's a very steady incline. Very beautiful scenery. Beautiful canyon. Probably open up again in a minute. Some of my last pictures you probably noticed. Yeah, got a nice big sugar bush here. Look, this one's got huge leaves on it too. Rus ovata. What a beauty. That's a beauty. So he's got large leaves on him. Up, San Diego mountain mahogany's in the picture now. First couple of those of the day. I haven't seen a lot of those. I haven't really seen those on my hikes in Hamul for the last month or so. We got a few coast live oaks up here too. Quercus agrifolia, variety agrifolia on these shadier slopes. And hoary leaf Ceanothus crassifolius, variety crassifolius. It's up here too. Pretty neat, pretty neat. Since we are in Chaparral, a surefire bet is definitely going to be common chamise. You already know that's going to be a factor in this hike. It's a given. Chaparral plant, and this is most certainly Chaparral. But yeah, here's that gorge. Look at that. That's insanely beautiful. Wow, look at that. What a view. What an absolutely stunning view from here. That canyon is absolutely gorgeous. What a beautiful ravine. And I got a lot of big berry manzanita up here too. There's a lot of it. It's a very common shrub in this area. And look how thick the chaparral is on this side here, on that shadier slope. This is a beautiful place. Absolutely stunning scenery up here. I think I see a hollyleaf cherry up ahead too, I think. And my shoes are already getting wet because of the trailside brushes damp. So. And these are another pair of shoes. You saw my hike from Wednesday. I soaked up another pair of shoes. Oh no, it's just a very leafy Ceanothus tomentosus. Wow, very leafy one. And a coast live oak. Wow, yeah. Stunning over here. Wow, okay. Well, I'm gonna keep on climbing up this trail. Yeah, the gradient mellowed out for a short bit there, but it's about to steepen up pretty good. So away I go again, and I can feel my shoes getting wet down to my socks already. So this will be my second day in a row of soaked shoes. Oh well, that ain't gonna stop me from enjoying my hike. Botany up here. We've got some Palmer sagewort, also some of the San Diego sagewort, Artemisia palmeri, growing up here. And I'm going through a beautiful little tunnel of shrubs here. Guess you might be able to find some shade here during the daytime. Some of these shrubs are shady, but probably not enough. Not like you would in a forest. Doesn't matter now since it's overcast. But yeah, Palmer sagewort showing up. Beautiful laurel sumacs. Still got some blooming on the San Diego sweet peas. Still going on. All right, well, pretty nice. All right. What else am I going to find on this beautiful trip into the hills? Okay, now we're getting ready for another rare botanical treat here. A local endemic. Oh yeah. Lakeside ceanothus is blooming. Ceanothus cyaneus. Here's another rare plant. So you've seen a lot of rare plants on my vacation. Look at that. Look at the beautiful halogen, like bluish purple flowers on this plant. So yes, Lakeside ceanothus is another factor on this hike. Wow. Boy, the hits keep coming. Oh yeah. Yes. Ceanothus cyaneus in full bloom here. May and June. Great times to see this plant in bloom. So boy, did I pick a great day to go hiking this. Wow. Okie dokie. This is pretty gnarly. I think I'm getting close to the saddle already. I can see a gap over here. So when I get to the saddle, I'll have to look for a use trail going one way and one going the other. All right, I'm gonna get some pictures of these plants. Of course, the lighting doesn't do it justice, but these are spectacularly beautiful flowers. This is an absolutely gorgeous trail. Really beautiful trail. Absolutely stunning over here. Crazy how beautiful it is here. How incredibly beautiful is that? This is a rare local endemic only found in this area in the world. Lakeside El Cajon crest. Very rare local endemic. More information, you can check out my spotlight video I did back in 2021 when I saw this at the nearby Oak Oasis County Preserve. All right, gotta go switch some batteries. I think I'm getting near the saddle. We do have some hollyleaf cherry too. Prunus ilicifolia subspecies ilicifolia. Figured it'd be just a matter of time before I saw that today. Yeah, so we're getting near the saddle between Peak 1680 and Flinn Springs Peak. So when I get to that saddle, I'm going to see, according to Google imagery, Google Earth imagery, there's going to be a wide open space. And then I'm going to look on the left for a use trail to get up to Peak 1680. And on the right for a use trail to get up to Peak 1833 or Flinn Springs Peak. All right, so I'm just about at the saddle. Okay, here's the saddle. It's the open space imagery I saw on Google Earth. So, see a use trail. Looks like one going this way. Should get me to Peak 1680. And this one to get me up to Flinn Springs Peak. Judging from the look of it, wow, it looks insane from here. So I'm gonna take a short water break here, and then I'm gonna start working my way to Peak 1680. Shouldn't be that much elevation gain from here to get there. To get up to there, it's probably a few hundred feet, but Looks like it's really steep. So we'll see. So when I looked on Google Earth, it looked like there were pretty clear use trails to get to both of them. This one's unnamed, and this one doesn't have a formal name. It's just called Flinn Springs Peak, probably due to the park nearby. Over that way would have been a great hiking destination. That's looking over towards Flinn Peak, which is in the clouds. That's a much higher peak. That's 2,258 feet. It's way over that way. But unfortunately, that area's been deemed off limits to public use, like hiking. It used to be open to hiking, but now you're not supposed to be able to do that anymore, which is a shame. I would love to have taken a stab at trying to climb that. All right, so let's go follow this use trail. This is where I'm probably going to start getting wet, so here we go. I don't expect any real bushwhacking, but probably some narrow shrub passages. So I'll probably get a little damp. So I'm gonna go ahead and start following this. This should take me up to the peak. Look at that bush all covered in dew and mist. Oh, and here, narrow leaf bedstraw. It's blooming right now too. Yes, Gallium angustifolium, subspecies angustifolium. Haven't been pointing that one out lately. So yeah, that right there, you can kind of see the cut into the trail. The trail cut in there. That's extremely steep. So I'm glad I brought my trekking pole this time. I'm actually a little, I wouldn't say super nervous, but definitely a little concerned about that one. Ooh, Helianthus gracilentus, narrow leaf, or slender sunflower. This should be a relatively easy peak right here, I think. So I'm going up this use trail here. Make sure I don't stick my trekking pole into animal scat by mistake. Yeah, I'm probably gonna get pretty damp after this. Especially when I go up that one. I assume it's gonna take longer to get up there. So, all right. This is a pretty decent trail here. I guess I'm saving the harder one for later. Very easy to follow use trail. It's not super badly overgrown either, considering it's a use trail. Wow, this looks so beautiful. All right, I'll see you up the way. All right, so far the difficulty on this trail is very easy. Very easy. Now I'm drenched. There's a lot of grass on the side of the trail, so legs just got soaked within the last 5 minutes. Wow. Views are really opening up over here. It's really too bad about Flinn Peak. That would have been really cool to hit that one. Probably would have gone the same route I did to get up to the saddle. Could have made a 3-peak effort out of it. You definitely do not need trekking poles on this. It's not very steep getting up here, at least so far. It's very gentle, easy grade. Like I said, the only overgrown aspect is just some small branches and grasses. So if it's damp out here, you'll get wet. Other than that, it's very easy hiking up here. Very easy hiking. If you can make it to that saddle, peak 1680 won't be a problem. if you made it up to that saddle, which has been the toughest part of the hike so far, this will be no problem for you. And there again is Flinn Springs Peak right there. Not to be confused with Flinn Peak, which is off limits. All right. Let's see. Should be up at the peak pretty soon. See you when I'm there. All right, so I'm pretty high up on this peak. I think I'm nearing the summit. Yeah, I'm pretty much near the summit now. Look at this rock here. The trail itself is very lazily ambled around the hillside. Very gently. For a while, not even really gaining any elevation. But it doesn't take much elevation to get to the top of this, to the top of this peak, which I am just about ready to summit right now. All right, a little tight squeeze here. No real bushwhacking, just brushing up against shrubs. That's all it is. It's not even that big of a deal, to be honest with you. We got some daisy fleabane over here. Erigeron foliosus, variety foliosus. Pretty common here in San Diego County. And of course, we got more of this. Lakeside Ceanothus. Ceanothus cyaneus. Because I'm just about to crown peak 1680 in mere seconds. Looks like I'll have a small rock scramble to get to the summit. I just got to remember, head this way past that metal post when I start my descent. So let's see, what's the best way to get up the summit block? It looks like it's going to be class 2. Let me see. Looks like a very easy summit block. Very easy class 2 summit block. Barely even class 2. All right. Well, this is it. Peak 1680, my first summit of the day. I'm still definitely a little concerned about that. That looks really insanely steep. But yeah, here it is, peak 1680, my first peak of the day. And we're under the clouds, which is a great thing. So I will be able to point out some views. Flinn Springs Peak is under the clouds as well. I'm not going to point out the views when I'm standing on the tip top of this really small rock. So I'm going to get down from there after I take my summit selfie. Alright, so I guess since I'm under the clouds and it's not extraordinarily hazy, I can point out at least some views today. Alright, well, I'll take that as a good sign. I'm going to start off by looking roughly east. My directions might be slightly off a little bit because the sun's not, I don't see the sun out, so it's hard to pinpoint exactly what, but I still have a pretty good sense of direction, so my direction should be relatively accurate. So I'm going to start by looking roughly east, and I'm going to go counterclockwise. So, looking east, this is more of the same general area. However, I think beyond this area, it's probably off limits to public, or at least further down. So I was looking up towards Flinn Peak, just barely scraping the clouds, or at least, that could be a false sum of it, but Flinn Peak is over in that direction. And that's the highest point in the general vicinity. So we're going to swing it to the northeast a little bit, and under the clouds, of course, is El Cajon Mountain, aka San Diego County's El Capitan, under the clouds. And that's where El Cajon Mountain is located. And that's looking out towards Stelzer County Park, where I've did a few peak climbs over there as well. It looks like we got right there. That should be peak 1372, which I didn't climb. Peak 1457, which is just outside of Stelzer Park, and that requires off-trail hiking, bushwhacking, and scrambling. Check out that video if you're interested. That should be Stelzer Summit. And then Kumeyaay Promontory should be down there. Kind of hard to see from here. And that looks like Lake Jennings right down there. That should be Lake Jennings. Down below us there. As we're looking more towards the north. And then now northwest, you can see just lots of hills and mesas towards northern San Diego. And then down below us is Interstate 8. Really cool, really cool. And now we're looking more towards the west. And out in front is Rattlesnake Mountain, that small ridge in the foreground that separates Lakeside from Santee. Behind it are the ridges and peaks of Mission Trails Regional Park. North Fortuna on the far right, Coles Mountain on the far left. So down there is Lakeside. On the other side of Rattlesnake is Santee, and then El Cajon. And then we're going to swing it more towards the west-southwest, I believe. West or southwest. And that's, of course, Flinn Springs Peak, the unofficial name. It's an unofficial name. Also known as Peak 1833. That's the elevation of the peak. Now we're going to swing it around to the south. And just valleys and mountains. It's pretty good views here. If it were a clear day, the views would even be twice as spectacular, but I'm not going to lie, I'm glad I'm under the clouds for once today, because these views are pretty nice, as they are. Just a lot of low clouds, and I'm also thankful for the low clouds because it keeps the temperatures much cooler. There's a nice slight breeze up here, and it feels great. So yeah. And yeah, that basically rounds that out. I'll see if maybe I can do another 360 up there. We'll see what the conditions are like. I'm pretty sure we'll be under the clouds the entire time, but yeah, we've been trapped in a cool, what they call June gloom pattern, where these marine layer stratus clouds hold very tight. Sometimes for days, sometimes they hold till late in the morning, early afternoon, and then sometimes like this, it gets just really densely packed in, and it stays cloudy for sometimes up to a couple days. And it's been like that on my vacation. I've been on vacation for a few days now, and honestly, weather's been really nicely comfortable. It's only been getting up into the low 70s where I live. Still a few degrees below normal. Should be in the mid to upper by now. But yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and just take a couple of summit shots and then start working my way back down to that saddle. Try to gain the courage to climb that bad boy. But there's a used trail going that way too. So I'm going to have to make sure that that's not the used trail. That's the used trail. Woo! Boy, that's going to be crazy. Looks like we got some fringed spine flower here. Corazonte fimbriata. Yes, we do. Had to make sure that the flower petals were fringed on them, because otherwise we'd be looking at a different species of Corazonte. Yeah. I think the other species of Corazonte found here is Corazonte staticoides. I see the flowers up close. I could tell if they got fringed edges on them or not. It's hard to tell. Yeah, some of them got fringed edges. So we're looking at fringed spine flower, which is a type of Turkish rugging plant in the genus Corazonte. Ours should be Fimbriata, subspecies Fimbriata. If it's not, the other likely species would be Corazonte staticoides. So I had to do some research. When I saw some Corazonte when I was in Hamul, hiking Hamul Mountain, I didn't really get a close look at the flowers like I should have. So they're not really fringed on the edge of it. You're looking at a type of Turkish rugging, which is most likely Coryzanthe staticoides. But those look like they had some fringes on them. So yep. Oh yeah. I am glad I brought my trekking pole today. Looks almost steep enough to be a rockless scramble. But like I said, appearance is going to be deceiving. I'll have a better idea when I'm there. What kind of red berry am I seeing here? I think we got ourselves. Let me see. I'm trying to see. Is this a hairy or a holly leaf? Hard to tell. This might be a holly leaf red berry, Rhamnus licifolia. I don't see a lot of prominent fuzziness. That would have been the first time I've seen hairy red berry in flower, if that were the case. I only started seeing it last September. All right, so here I go, making my way down the use trail. Should be back at the saddle pretty soon. This is a very meandering use trail, so you're not going to tire yourself out more on this one. It's not steep at all. The whole entire way from the saddle to peak 1680 is basically like a very gentle incline with some level stretches and even some short downhills. Very short, very short, that is. Very gentle use trail, very easy to follow, except at the top when you get past that big rock outcropping that I pointed out. Then you're going to have to kind of look around a little bit more. But if you see but just keep looking, you'll see a passageway, and then if you see a metal post, you see a small metal post sticking out of the ground, you'll know you're almost there. You just look around past it for a very narrow passage between the shrubs, and you'll see a very small summit block, which is I don't even know if I'd consider it class 2, to be honest with you, because I just walked over it. I didn't even use my hands for balance. So it's just a very small, easy summit block, which I don't even know if I can call it class 2. All right, so I should be back at the saddle momentarily. This is pretty gentle downhill. Here's some more of that red berry. This looks more like, this might also be Rhamnus crocea with larger leaves. Wait a minute. It's kind of bugging me now. I think this is Rhamnus pilosa in bloom. I think that is Rhamnus pilosa. A little bit of fuzziness on it. Okay. So I should be back at this trail very soon. Back at the main trail. And then we're going the opposite side to climb up that. Now that, I'm pretty sure I'm going to need my trekking poles, especially on the way down. So we're almost back at the saddle. Very easy trail over here. Somebody even lined it off with rocks, so you know people visit it. Okay. Now, here's a saddle. Now the real test. Getting up that. That looks a little, I'm not gonna lie, it looks a little intimidating. I'm up for the challenge, of course. So let's see what happens here. Guarantee this one's gonna be a lot tougher. Okay, so there's a trail going this way, but there's a trail going this way. This, I think, is going to be the use trail. This might actually continue on to the end of the open area for the public. So I think this is the use trail here. Okay, here's a trail branching off over here. So here we go. Here comes the real test of my guts. Yes, I'm up for the challenge. At least I say I am. Let's see if I can get up this. All right. Yeah, my pants are drenched again, just like on Wednesday. Keeping my legs relatively cool. Okay. Definitely steeper, but nothing too bad yet. Okay. All right. So that's about 1680 in elevation. So I got to climb up, well above that. Probably about 150, 160 feet above that. Okay, here we go. All right, here we go. All right. Well, so far not too bad. I'm gonna keep on climbing up, keep you posted on how this goes. All right, so it's definitely getting very steep. This is what I'm looking at. Yes, your eyes do not deceive you. This is steep. So yes, trekking poles, good idea. Very good idea. And this trail seems to braid. In other words, it splits off, reconvenes. So carefully choose which split off you want to take, because it might be the difference between easier ambling and harder ambling. That way would have probably been a little bit easier maybe. We do have some scurry here and it's very rutted. So just mind where you place your feet. Take your time. This isn't a race. Unless you're one of those gonzo hikers who likes to race. I'm not one of those. I'm taking my sweet time going up this decomposed granite. So far so good, it's just very steep. Having trekking poles on the way down, definitely a good idea. All right, see you on the way over. I'm almost level with peak 1680 already. Didn't take very long. All right. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. Ever since I last checked in, this thing's gotten even crazier. This is borderline a scramble. Now, there's a pathway on this side too, but it's just dirt. I think this might actually be safer, except there are a couple of decent drop-offs after these rocks. It's not like a real technical rock climb, but it is borderline class 2 in spots. I've had to use my hands to balance. And I am using my trekking pole. First time in a couple of years I've used a trekking pole. But yeah, there are some areas where you will need to either, you probably want to grab onto the rock with your hand on the side of the trail to maintain balance. This is a very steep one. Oh, it's so worth it. It's so worth it. Just getting up here. Yeah, see, this is where you get some decent drop-off. So if you got shorter legs like I do, you're gonna be using your leg strength to prop yourself up quite a bit. Going down, this is definitely gonna be sketchy. There's a saddle where that little clearing is. That's the saddle. I can see the use trail going up to peak 1680. I'm definitely well above 1680 now, so should be getting close pretty soon, I assume. So parts of this trail are definitely borderline scramble. All right, just want to keep you updated. It's about to get real rocky over here. So beautiful here though. Very beautiful trail. So if you want that rugged experience coming up the Flinn Springs peaks, you'll get it. That one's kind of like a nice beautiful warm-up. This one's the one that'll test you the most. Okay, well, on I go. I gotta pay attention. Well, I think I got past most of the gnarly scrambling. I think. Nearing the top of something here. Let's see. I think I'm near the summit. I think it's over there. All right. Ooh, yeah. This one's a little butt kicker. I think the summit's gonna be over there. Kind of glad it's not that rock pile there. All right. Oh boy. Excuse me. A little tired. All right, I think I'm on the last steps, unless this is a false peak. I'll find out. No lie, I'm kind of glad it's not that. Looks like a pretty decent Class 3 summit block. Or block. Let's see. Just a little bit more ahead. All right. All right. We got a summit block over here too. Let's see. Ooh, my shoes are getting soaked again. All right, this should be it. Ooh. All right. All right, this is it. Flinn Springs Peak. Second peak of the day. 1,833 feet. Whew. Oh. All right. Pretty easy Class 2 summit block. A little bit easier than parts of the trail were. Whew. It's a nice breeze up here. Forget if the camera is kind of loud. Great breeze up here. I'm definitely going to be finding a place to sit down for a while. Whew. It's a tough climb getting up here. I'm not surprised. I figured it would be. Kind of expected it. That's all the way down by Flinn Springs County Park, way down there. So yeah, got a bit of a descent ahead of me. So I do get some other views that I couldn't see on Peak 1680, which is that small mass down below us. Not that down there. So I find a comfortable place. I'm going to start pointing out some more views from up here, because there are some other views to be had. All right, let me get my summit selfie for number 2. So yeah, looks like I'm gonna have to do a 360 up here too, because there's some views on this peak that you won't get on peak 1680 because this peak is in the way. So I'm gonna start off by looking relatively east. So that itself should not be Flinn Peak. I believe that's Flinn Peak over there. I think that's where the high point is. That little road underneath it should be Montaña Serena, I think is the name of that road. So let's look at roughly east. I'm going to go counterclockwise again. That's looking out towards Cleveland National Forest. El Cajon Mountain again, underneath the clouds. And we're looking north now towards some of the peaks near Stelzer Park. That was another great park to peak hike. Done a couple of those here. The trails, you can get to the trails to get to Stelzer Summit. You can use the trails to get to Stelzer Summit and Kumeyaak Promontory, but to get to the peaks behind it that are just outside of the park, you use a dirt road that goes through a valley, and then you want to get to those peaks, you got to go cross country, bushwhacking, rock scrambling, everything. So looking north, again, Lake Jennings. Looking more towards the west, Mission Trails off in the distance, off in the overcast. Coles Mountain is in the clouds. I'm on a peak that's a couple hundred feet higher than Coles Mountain. So the cloud layer must be a little bit lower there, unless that's drizzle or something. And then there's Rattlesnake Mountain in front. And then looking towards the more west-southwest, we got Mount Helix over by Casa de Oro. That's Mount Helix over there. And I can see Point Loma. Won't see it very well on camera. And then looking more towards the southish, you can see Crestridge Ecological Reserve. You can see some of the peaks that I hiked back in late January. You can see right down there in the foreground, kind of hard to see, but that's peak 1584. The one with the water tower is peak 1763. And that's peak 1754. Those are 3 peaks I hiked when I did Crestridge Ecological Reserve back in January. Down there is where the entrance is. There's the entrance, and then looks like there's some facilities, a visitor center. And in there, down there, that road, that's Valley View Truck Trail. Kind of winds its way between Crestridge Ecological Reserve and the avocado plantation that's below it. And then as we swing more towards the south and southeast, pretty much the same views that were had on the other peak. And yeah, so we do get some pretty nice views up here too. Some really good views up here. Just very nice. It's a nice peak. This is definitely worth the effort to get up here. I pretty much say that about every peak I climb. So that shouldn't be a surprise to you to hear me say that. All right. So I guess I'll just relax here for a couple minutes and then start getting ready to plot my way down. So I'll have to find that use trail again. See if I can find it, locate it. It should be off this way. And then the real fun part is going down this. That's the part I'm a little more concerned about. It's going down this hill. So we'll see how that works out. But yeah, looking down there, that's kind of looking roughly north towards Flinn Springs County Park down there. I see some of the parking lot areas. And I think next to it is Mary Etta's Cafe, I believe, is next to it. So yeah, pretty impressive peak. Yeah, this is very nice. This is very nice. Very nice out here. Beautiful views. Now, if it were clear and sunny, the views would even be more spectacular, but thankfully the overcast is a little bit higher up today. so you can see more. There's a little hummingbird. Taking nectar out of, looks like some Indian catchfly. This orangish reddish flower right here. Silene laciniata, subspecies laciniata. That is always a treat to find while hiking. That is such a spectacular wildflower. Such a spectacular plant to find when hiking. Especially when it's blooming in late spring, early summer. So what do we have growing up here? I'm just going to do a quick little botanical checklist of what's growing up here on the very apex of this peak. I haven't pointed much of this out today, but there's a lot of it here. And this is Xylococcus bicolor, Mission Manzanita. And of course, surprise, Laurel sumac. And I think we got some hairy redberry here, some Rhamnus pilosa growing in the rocks. And then, those shrubs with the white flowers in the foreground, of course, common chamise, Adenostoma fasciculatum, variety fasciculatum. And those pom-poms of white flowers there in the center of the frame, that's Foothill California buckwheat, Eriogonum fasciculatum, variety foliolosum. Sometimes these June gloom days are the best because you can enjoy the late season wildflowers that usually come when the weather's starting to really heat up without the actual heat. Really cool peak up here. I'm glad I made it up here. I've been wanting to do this one for a while, and I'm glad I came up here. This is a beautiful peak. Beautiful country out here. Not far from civilization. Obviously, you can see Interstate 8 down below us heading towards El Cajon, and La Mesa and San Diego. But just far enough in to where you can get some rugged trails climbing up these beautiful peaks. I'm going to have to take a few stills up here. So I've been sitting up here for maybe about 10-15 minutes, just relaxing, enjoying the views, and enjoying the peaceful solitude that this peak affords, especially on a weekday. I don't know how busy this gets on weekends. Pretty sure the park down there gets busy, but I don't know how busy these peaks get. But I was sitting here with the really pungent aroma of this kind of bluish green plant here called Odora. This is Porophyllum gracile, very pungent member of the sunflower family. These little things at the tip, these are the little flower heads. So they're sunflower family plants, so they got flower heads. There's quite a bit of it here, so you're going to probably smell a very pungent, almost sweet turpentine-like aroma when you brush up against these plants, especially during when they're green, not when they're dormant during the summer as much, probably. But yeah, if you notice a really pungent turpentine / camphor, really strong scent, you're probably hanging out with Odora. Alright, so I try to lengthen out my trekking pole a little bit, getting ready for the downhill part, which I'm a little bit dreadful of doing. So we'll see. Here we go again. Time for the big downhill. This is usually the sketchiest part of the hike for me. So wish me luck on my downhill trek. Alright, so I'm getting ready to descend. My first challenge is relocating the use trail to get down this. Should be on the other side of this little amphitheater here. Really cool amphitheater. Rocks and shrubs. There are the summit blocks right there. Just class 2 to get up there. Nothing hardcore at all. Now I gotta go relocate the use trail to start descending this. should be over towards this side, because I remember that rock jumble there was on my left coming up. So going down, it should be on my right. And the trail's generally pretty easy to follow for the most part. All right. Now it's just making sure I get back to it. Once you get up to this upper portion here, above that rock jumble there, and just below the summit, it's where it becomes a little less distinct, because the country is a little more open here, less shrub cover. Usually it's easier to follow when you're actually in the shrub cover, because it's the path through the shrubs. But so far, so good. Now this is where I'm going to be using trekking poles much more stringently on the downhill portion of this hike. So probably not going to be feeling much, especially in the really gnarly sections, because going downhill is going to be a lot less safe. Coming up, it was even a little bit sketchy coming up, but going down is going to be a lot more so. So there we go, some more slender sunflower. Helianthus gracilentus. Yes. Once you start getting to the foothills and mountains, you start seeing this a lot more. Very beautiful plant. I do have a spotlight video on Helianthus gracilentus from a few years ago in Riverside County in the Santa Ana Mountains / Elsinore Mountains. If you're interested in hearing some more information about that awesome plant. And it's blooming up here. It's blooming pretty nicely. It's only scattered here and there, but you see it, enjoy it. All right. So I'm on the use trail. Like I said, once you get to this point, past the rock jumble, it starts becoming a little less distinct, but just keep going up and you should be able to get to the peak. Just when you get down to here is where you should be able to pick up the trail much more easily. I had no trouble finding it on the way down. Just in some spots it's pretty overgrown and it does split off periodically. Ooh, a splendid Mariposa lily growing right in this bush rue. Little one. Beautiful little guy. Look at all the beautiful orange fruits on these bush rues. Neorydium dumosum. Absolutely beautiful. These little berries are very similar to their relatives, the citrus. Limes, lemons, and so forth. They're related in the rue / citrus family, the Rutaceae. Okay, this is where it starts to be getting sketchy. A little bit further down, this part's where it's really going to get pretty crazy. So this is where it's going to feel like more of a scramble than going up, because you're going down this. Okay, so I'm going to just keep focused, and I'll update you down the way. Got a way to go down to get to that saddle. Got a good few hundred feet to descend. So I'm taking it very slowly down this. There's some great views along the trail too. Of course, along this stretch of trail, you're going to definitely want to make sure you're on stable footing before you turn around and look at any views. Like a spot like this right here. If you want to look down at some views, because that's what's coming next. That's where it's going to get extremely steep. It's pretty steep coming down so far, but it's about to get a lot steeper as I maneuver around. That's why trekking poles are a very good idea on this hike. Very good idea. Glad I brought them with me today. I think I'm gonna go around the obstacle this time. When I climbed up, I just scrambled over this. Climbing down, I think I'm going to side hill it, using this side of the trail instead. Less scrambling. Scrambling's a lot easier on the way up than it is on the way down, usually. At least in my experience. I've had better experiences uphill scrambling than downhill scrambling. So You bypass that class 2 section right there. On the way up, I felt comfortable enough going up it. Going down it, it's a little bit different story. So now I just gotta watch out because it is unstable footing here. So I'm gonna go back to focusing on my descent and keeping you updated periodically when I'm on more stable footing. All right, so now I have two choices. This is my ascent route here. This is where I came up. I came up in this rut. Had fairly stable footing uphill. But I think on the downhill part, I'm going to go down this. I'm going to see how this works out for me. I'm going to use my trekking pole and kind of walk at a diagonal angle. This should meet up with that other use trail at some point. So again, when you go up and you go down, get to the use trail, get to the side that's more comfortable for you. Okay, this is where it's going to get a little slippery here. So, let's see. Okay. As I said, just take your time. Do not rush this. It's very, very steep hiking. Mostly class 1 with a couple of class 2 sections, especially depending on your route of ascent. My way down's been mostly class 1. The only thing is, oh yeah, this is steep, but so far so good. It might take you at least as long to get down as it does to get up. So just be aware of that. Okay, here's a little sketchy spot. So I'm getting closer and closer, but I'm still above the peak. Ay, ay, ay. All right, better focus. So I'll catch you on the next clip. All right, so I'm back at where the trail splits and meets back up. So going up, I went up this way. I took the right fork to get up that, which included some very lightweight scrambling. Down this way is just very steep, still sketchy in spots, but not terribly bad. But we still got a few sketchy spots here. So let's see. Am I going to use the rut? Sometimes using the rut, it depends. The ruts can be pretty loose with loose scree and sand and dirt. But sometimes ruts can be good if they're wide enough to accommodate your legs. I've used plenty of ruts in my days. Now, these rocks are loose, so just watch your step when you go down. You don't get too much momentum going. I'm almost back down at the saddle. I've had a pretty uneventful descent. Not too hard. Just took my time. Some more of that Indian catchfly. Silene laciniata. Very beautiful plant. What a treasure that plant is. We have several species of Silene, including at least a non-native one or two. That one is a native. Most certainly is a native. So I should be back at the saddle in about a minute or two. Yeah, definitely a challenge. But like I said, it's doable if you take your time. And at least if you have terrible balance, though, I cannot recommend it. You have to have at least some decent level of ability to balance yourself. If you have terrible balance or suffer from vertigo or anything like that, I cannot recommend anybody climb this with that affliction. Cannot. Will not. But yeah, I'm just mere feet away from the saddle. I think I'm done with the real sketchy parts of the hike. Another 2-peak day, happily. A very beautiful day. A little bit more views here than on the other day, 2 days ago when I did Hamul Mountain. Very beautiful out here. Very beautiful this park is. And this area, this ecological reserve, is absolutely stupendously beautiful. Yeah, like I said, these golden yarrows are still really going strong. Look at these. These are beautiful. Look at this. Aerophyllum confertiflorum. Freddie confertiflorum. Beautiful semi-woody based subshrub / perennial herb in the sunflower family. Blooming very strongly still along this trail. Yeah, see, when I started going up, I saw this here too. So when you leave the saddle, I'm near the saddle right now, leave the saddle, branch off to the right. I'm not sure if this goes. It might go up there too, I don't know. But we're gonna rejoin this trail here. I think this way takes us to the end of the end of the area we're able to hike. This way takes you right back to the saddle, this little open spot. I'm not sure of this. I think there might be a couple other small trails. To get to Flinn Peak, which is not legal anymore, unfortunately, Flinn Peak would be a really awesome peak to climb. Oh, people have done it before the closures. People were hiking it. You can't even see it from here. It's beyond that way. But there's a use trail that goes all the way up to the, I believe, all the way up to the summit. That'd be a pretty tough hike, I assume. But boy, would it be worth it if it were open for public use. Fortunately, it's not. So again, you get to the saddle. That's from whence you came. That leads back to Flinn Springs County Park. This is your use trail. If you want to go up to Peak 1680, which is beyond that, very easy walk from here. And if you want to go to Flinn Springs Peak, again, continue up here, branch off to your right. No rock ducks or anything here, but you can kind of see a clearing here. And then you'll see another fork. Take the next right, and should take you up into the hill for Flinn Springs Peak. Flinn Springs Peak. All right, I'm gonna start getting ready to descend. I'll keep you updated along the way. If I see any more botany, probably will. So as you can well tell, I'm heading north down from the saddle, coming back across these beautiful lakeside ceanothus plants. Ceanothus cyaneus. What a spectacular shrub in bloom. I really picked a good time to hike this. Yeah, I've only come across this a few times, 2 or 3 times in my hiking. But I also want to show you these spectacular mountain mahoganies over here. Look at these. Cercocarpus minutiflora. This is San Diego mountain mahogany. Very nice specimens thereof. These are very, very luscious specimens. So we're mostly on a north-facing slope here. That's why chaparral is luscious in spots. It's because of the slope aspect. It's shadier here. It stays moist longer. And then, yeah, we do have hollyleaf cherry here too. Got a small Prunus ilicifolia subspecies ilicifolia. Believe it or not, they may not look like it, but mountain mahogany and hollyleaf cherry are related. Not extremely closely, but they are in the same family of plants. They're in the rose family, the Rosaceae. Same family, also, as you wouldn't believe it, maybe, unless you know your botany. Chemise. Chemise is also a member of the rose family. Other plants in the rose family you'd find here would be Toyon. Heteromeles arbustifolia. Haven't seen a lot of it here. Might have seen a couple on the way up. But yeah, Toyon is another rose family member found in chaparral. Here's a red berry here. I want to see this. I want to see what species I'm currently viewing. This looks like hairy red berry. Yeah, Rhamnus pilosa, I think. Yeah. It looks a lot like Rhamnus crocea and Rhamnus ilicifolia. It looks kind of intermediate between the two. It's a close relative. Rhamnus pilosa grows here too, it looks like. This is a nice size specimen too. I haven't seen a lot of very large ones. Usually they're pretty lanky and small, the ones I've seen. Hoping to see if I can catch one that has. I thought I caught one with fruit on it, but I think it was when I was ambling up the peak. Here's something not native, some type of daisy family or sunflower family plant. I think this is in the genus Gazania, I believe. I believe this is a South African native plant, if I remember correctly. I think this is in the genus Gazania, I believe. It's not native, but it's another sunflower family plant. Wow. This is so beautiful. Look at this. This is Flinn Springs Peak. This is the second peak I climbed. But look at the side of it. Just look at all the really lush chaparral and even some coast live oaks clinging to the crags on the hillside. And so the scenic value here is absolutely top notch. If it weren't for the sound of Interstate 8, the traffic of Interstate 8, this would totally feel like a wilderness experience. But I'm usually very good at tuning out stuff like that when I'm hiking, because the visual aesthetic of this place is unbelievable. Just a lot of beauty going on here. Very beautiful place. Just watch your step. Loose rocks. It's a good idea to have trekking poles on you. And I'm glad I brought them today. Because even though this is not as sketchy as going down from Flinn Springs Peak, it is pretty steep in spots. So I'm just going to take my time and enjoy this. Jeez, how beautiful this is. Oh man, this is gorgeous. I love these rugged canyons and boulder-strewn hillsides. It's just all just part of the aesthetic that makes these hikes so much fun and so worth it. Look how big these chaparral shrubs are. Oh, look at that, it's so lush looking. Alright, now this is. And look at these large Ceanothus crassifolius variety crassifolius. So at least 3 species of Ceanothus growing here. Ceanothus crassifolius variety crassifolius, Ceanothus cyaneus, that one with the blue, those majestic blue wands of flowers, and then Ceanothus tomentosus is also here too. And then just a lot of beautiful scrub oaks. Some of these I bet are Quercus berbertifolia. This might be Quercus berbertifolia, but Quercus acutidens should be here as well. It is hard to tell the difference between the two at times. Usually when the Quercus acutidens shows more of its Engelmann oak parental lineage and its traits like bluer, grayish green leaves, I can usually tell it apart from berbertifolia. Berbertifolia, I think, typically stays richer green. But let's just enjoy this descent. Here's a Toyon. Here we go. Heteromeles arbustifolia. Hopefully it'll flower this summer. Yeah, it's getting flower buds on it, so it'll flower pretty soon. So in fall it should have those beautiful red berry-like pomes. Yeah. So this is where you get to see what the understory of chaparral looks like when you got a big road cut. This must have been an old 4x4 road back in the day. You get to see what these shrubs look like in the understory of chaparral and how dense the thickets are. It may not be as dense underneath, but once you get up a few inches to a foot above the soil, then you can really truly appreciate how thick chaparral is. This is one of the reasons why I love hiking these type of hikes, doing these type of hikes, because of the perspectives. I gotta get some stills of this. This is too beautiful to pass up. All right, so what else we got going here? Southern California virgin bowers. Clematis pauciflora. These are the seeds. They're not fully opened up and ripened yet. When they do, they're going to look even puffier than they look right now. These are the seed heads of Clematis pauciflora, a somewhat frequent companion here in the shadier parts of chaparral and coastal sage scrub and in wooded areas. Look at that. These ones are going to be opening up soon. They're going to be real puffy and fuzzy looking, and they'll float off in the breeze. And look at this scrub oak. Wow, look at the leaves on this scrub oak. Beautiful. They're almost lobed, like your stereotypical oak leaves that are lobed. So make sure I'm not reaching in poison oak, so I don't see any. Yeah, some of these leaves are lobed too. Look at that. I love when scrub oaks get like that. This might be Berberifolia. That might be Berberifolia. But it'd have to be more of an advanced botanist to really tell. What we do have, we got coast live oak here. We got a coast live oak sapling or seedling right here, getting established under its not so closely related scrub oaks. And why I say not so closely related is that they are oaks, so they're in the same family, the beech family. They are in different lineages. Scrub oaks are white oaks. Coast live oaks are red, sometimes also called black oaks. So yeah, coast live oaks are a type of red oak. Their closest relatives here are the interior live oak, Quercus wieselzeni, typically variety frutescens, and also Quercus kelloggi, the deciduous black oak that changes yellow in autumn at Mount Laguna. So kind of interesting to think that the coast live oak is a pretty close relative of the California black oak, the one that has the typical oak-shaped leaves that sheds its leaves in autumn. They are fairly close relatives. They could hybridize with each other. What a beautiful hike this is. Then I'm going downhill, taking care of business. I've at the point where I'm just savoring this, and I will be taking more photographs on the way down this as well. Just look at this chaparral. It's just so luscious and beautiful. This is gorgeous. Alright, so I've been walking down for quite a while. I've been trying to get footage for a spotlight video on a shrub that grows in the area, and having a hard time getting great footage for that one. But so I'm working my way down. I've been coming down for quite a while, just taking it very slow so I can find good specimens. But look at this Quercus acutidens right here. This looks a lot like its Engelmann oak parent. So I wonder if this actually is an Engelmann oak. But yeah, this is probably an acutidens. Probably has some of its other oak DNA in it. Look at that gully. That's the gully that leads up towards the saddle where you branch off to hit the two peaks. So look at that view. That is gorgeous. What a beautiful canyon. Imagine trying to hike that up cross country. You'd have a lot of big rocks in your way, and probably tons of poison oak. I've seen some poison oak along this way. A fair amount of it. Nothing that's unavoidable. One of them kind of comes close out to the trail, but it's not that bad. Not that bad. It's pretty easily avoidable if you're paying attention. But yeah, I've just been taking a very leisurely descent. I'm taking my sweet time. So when you see the hiking time on my statistics portion, it might be a little misleading because I've been looking around for specimens of a plant and trying to spotlight. If that video ends up coming out, you'll see it. Probably before this one. So this will be the one that takes forever to upload. Ooh. California scrub jays off in the chaparral. To me, that's a sign of good times. So I'm just slowly making my way down this. Here's a plant I've been trying to find good specimens thereof. And this is, yeah, a lot of red berries here. Yeah. Wow. Very beautiful here. Very beautiful place. Really glad I hiked this. It's not an easy hike by any stretch. I'd say well into the moderate category. Not super duper strenuous, but you'll get a great workout. This trail's pretty steep. The trails up to the peaks are pretty darn steep. So yeah, pretty crazy. All right. Interesting. All right. I'll see you on my next clip. Very fragrant out here. Partially due to this beautiful shrub here. Artemisia californica. Also partially due to Salvia apiana. Beautiful chaparral. Very beautiful. Very beautiful out here. Gorgeous place. Wow. Yeah, we're coming up on some big berry manzanitas. A lot of big berry manzanita, or at least quite a bit of it here. And you can usually tell it's big berry manzanita because of the huge drupes, the large fruits. These are much larger than your typical manzanita drupes. Much larger. Arctostaphylos glauca. Glauca refers to the grayish-greenish color of the foliage. In other words, glaucous. Glauca is Latin for glaucus. Grayish-green or bluish-green. Here's another awesome big berry manzanita right here. These drupes are much larger than our other species of Arctostaphylos here. Much larger than the other species. The other species in this area, if we have it, would most likely be Eastwood manzanita, Arctostaphylos glandulosa, subspecies glandulosa. That'd be our most likely companion species if we were to have it out here, which I haven't seen, to my knowledge, yet. But it's just a very leisurely descent. Gorgeous day out here. I think the marine layer is going to start breaking up pretty soon. It's clearing off. Further inland, it's starting to clear up. So I'm assuming it'll probably do the same here, but we'll see. But what a beautiful hike this is. The other plant named manzanita, of course, is mission manzanita, Xylococcus bicolor, which is actually related to the Arctostaphylos plants. So this Xylococcus bicolor is related in the same family as Arctostaphylos glauca and the other species of Arctostaphylos. Just in a different genus. But they're in the same group, they're in the same tribe. The heath family, it's in the heath family, the Ericaceae, the manzanitas, mission manzanitas. But there are separate tribes of the Ericaceae. The plants like blueberries and huckleberries, they're also in the Ericaceae. They're in their own groups. But the manzanitas, the mission manzanita, another plant called summer holly, which is found mostly in coastal chaparral in central northern San Diego County. They're all related to the madrones, or the strawberry tree that we have planted here as an ornamental. And there's a native madrone called Pacific madrone, Arbutus menziesii. It's in a group called the Arbutoidea, the madrone subtribe, or the madrone tribe of the Ericaceae. So Mission manzanita, bigberry manzanita are in the madrone tribe. Very beautiful out here. Glad I came out here. So let's keep moving down this hill, and I'll keep you posted. Got a couple switchbacks when I get down the way a bit, and then we'll see how else it goes. So there's a question to pose to you. Say we do have Eastwood manzanita out here, and say the shrubs don't have any fruit on them. How are we going to tell whether they're bigberry manzanitas or Eastwood manzanitas? Well, the bigberry manzanita, the leaves are smooth. They're glabrous, smooth, hairless. Eastwood manzanita, the leaves are glandular. If there are no fruits on there, that's how you're going to tell. And the stature of the shrubs. Eastwood manzanita tends to be shorter in stature, shrubbier and denser. And bigberry manzanita, as you saw some of the ones I showed you, were quite upright. In fact, this bigberry manzanita right here is a single trunk. This bigberry manzanita is very upright. But I don't see any Eastwood manzanitas around here to show you the difference. Unfortunately, that's not the luck that I have today of being able to show you that. Look at this right here. Look at this nice little glen right here. Now this is Quercus acutidens. I'm willing to bet this is Quercus acutidens. I can see the glaucous grayish green color of its Engelmann parent, Quercus engelmannii, and there are Engelmann oaks at the bottom of this hill in the canyon. But yeah, look at that. Beautiful Quercus acutidens. Thicket of laurel sumac right ahead of us. And yes, heartleaf beard tongue or heartleaf penstemon. Kekiella cordifolia blooming. Very awesome. Very awesome. Nice little nook here around the switchback. And there's a much taller manzanita in there somewhere. So I'm going to come back out here. So this is at a switchback. Sometimes at the end of these switchbacks you can see some pretty nifty stuff. Here's another fleabane daisy right here. Arigarian foliosus variefoliosus. Very common here. Alright, let's go down the switchbacks and continue the fun. It looks like the marine layer is going to break up today for the first day in 3 or 4 days. So I'll be done with this hike before it gets too warm. But I don't really see it getting extremely warm, but it'll probably get up to about 75 if the sun comes out. An absolutely delightful hike today. Well, let's see what else I'm going to find. So yes, as I'm descending, coming across a lot more bigberry manzanita. Yes. Now, I've seen bigberry manzanitas that are much larger than any of these here. Sometimes they're the size of trees. Sometimes they're basically the size of small trees, or they're just so massive. They can get much more massive than these. I think there's a record in Central California that's about 30-something feet tall. Look at that. That's a pretty decent sized manzanita. And you notice the base of these bigberry manzanitas, you'll notice the bases are a lot more open. Other manzanitas are so multi-trunked that they form thickets. These ones are a lot more open and have a lot more space underneath them. usually. Sometimes they'll have one trunk, or sometimes they'll have just a few. Not as densely thicket forming as most other species of manzanitas, especially ones in the chaparral like this. All right, more on the way down. Saca peyote, Cortea microcephala. Hope I get a spotlight on that one this year. I missed out on it last year. There's a lot of scrub oak here. It's a lot more scrub oak than over by where I was hiking in Hamul. A lot more scrub oak here. And I'm pretty sure it's both Berbertifolia and Acutidens. Okay, this is where it starts getting really steep, so good to have trekking poles with you. All right. Yeah, there's a lot of scrub oak here. Some of this is Acutidens, some of this is Berbertifolia. I think this one might be Acutidens. Sometimes I could tell better when Acutidens is present when it's a lot closer to its Engelmann oak parental hybrid. I mean, when it's close to its hybrid parent, where it's a hybrid. It's a hybrid with Engelmann oak parent. Parental lineage. I couldn't say it right. So we'll see. Pretty interesting. We're getting pretty close to the end of this hike already. Alright, so I'm just about outside of the Ecological Reserve. Almost down by the park. There's their sign right there. So it should be down in the park pretty soon. Still got a little bit on this road to go. Great hike. Yeah, this was a great hike. Totally awesome experience. Had its challenges, had some rare botany. What a great day this has been. Wow. Yeah, I can tell the marine layer is starting to break up. So it'll probably be sunny pretty soon. Pretty steep trail. But it means a great workout, some great payoffs at the peaks, and also a lot of awesomeness along the way. Here's a nice Quercus Acutidens right here. It's very nice Torrey's hybrid oak. Again, Engelmann oak, one of the main tree oaks down this way, besides Coast Live oak, is a parental hybrid. The parental of the hybrid. It's the parental tree, one of the parental trees. Besides Mueller scrub oak up in the Laguna Mountains. All right. Look at this white sage in bloom. Beautiful. All right. See you down by the bottom. Ooh, a larkspur. Wonder if this is Delphinium Perry. It might be Perry's larkspur. I'll have to double check. There's some more big berry manzanita. There we go. That one's getting quite a bit bigger. That's a single trunk one too. Let's talk about Eastwood manzanita as well. Another difference is between Eastwood and Big Berry. Eastwood manzanitas form root burrows at the base, so they can resprout from fire. Big Berry does not. It needs to reseed itself. They both reseed after fire, but Big berry manzanita, absolutely must do it. Okay. I'm just about back down in the park. Wow, man. There's a nice breeze going right now. Here are the ball fields that I saw earlier. So let's see, I'm gonna see you down in the park. All right, so when you're back, just don't forget hiking back into the park. That ball field in the last picture is just over there. So I'm gonna use this to hike back into the park. All right. Very leisurely now. All the steepness is behind me. We're going to be plunging into oak woodland pretty soon. So, all right. See you down there. Let's see if this leads me back into the park. I'm going to turn. That's where I came from, up there. Let's see if this leads me back into the park. There's a nice Quercus acutidens. A lot closer to its Engelmann oak parent. Let's see. I think this is slightly different than the way I came up. Okie dokie. Yeah, it's a little bit different than I came up. Don't remember walking past all this here. Should be leading me back into the park. Cultivating some Engelmanns and some Coast live oaks. Almost back by the picnic table, so I'm almost back. Here's a small Engelmann oak. You can see that glaucous color foliage. It's quite similar to that acutidens. And this is one of the parents of the hybrid, the acutidens hybrid. Of course, this is Coast live oak here. And it looks like a sapling Torrey pine, Pinus torreana, subspecies torreana. Nice healthy young tree. All right, about by some of the picnic tables. Yeah, there's some more Engelmann oak over there. Very nice. Alright, so past the gazebo. Look at this tipuana tree. Tipu. Beautiful California sycamores. Look at that. Handsome looking trees. I think this is, I forgot the name of this creek. I wonder if it's Flinn Springs Creek. I see some, I think I see some swamp crayfish in there. I saw one moving around. Pretty nice. Very nice day out here. I see some people down by the creek probably checking out the animals. Here's some type of shrub. I think this is in the genus Senna, but I'm not sure. Check that out too. But yeah, here's this desert willow from earlier. Yes, Calopsis linearis subspecies arquata. I remember this big beauty from earlier. Full bloom up here. Beautiful, beautiful place this is. I wonder if this is a chase tree, Vitex agnus castus. I think that's what this is. It's an ornamental. I think that's what this is. I think that's what this is called. I think this is Vitex agnus castus. A tree or shrub that I'm not very extremely familiar with. So I don't see it very often. I don't usually see it too much here. But look at this giant toyon here. Still has a few dried up pomes left on it from last year. Yeah, I'm just about on Highway 80. I'm not exactly where I'm parked. Probably suspect I'm not that far from it. But I'll explore a little bit over here too while I have a chance. Yeah, I think that's Vitex Agnus castus. I think it's the name of that shrub right here. Let me get some pictures of it. Yeah, some blue elderberry blooming here too. Oh, and it does have a nice fragrance to it. Almost has like a sweet / clove like scent to it. Beautiful. Look at that. Full bloom of this panicle here. Or this is more like an umbel or a cyme. It's more like a cyme. But yeah, look at this. Chelopsis or Chelopsis linearis subspecies arquata. Beautiful, venerable, awesome desert willow in the trumpet creeper family, the Bignoniaceae. So it's not a true willow. Some great lessons in botany here. Very beautiful park. Nice turf portion where you can bring the kids and play. But also, let's get up in those trails up in the hills. There we go. That's up towards Flinn Springs Peak, and that's up towards Peak 1680. Pretty awesome stuff. So I'm still in the park right on the edge of it, right here by Highway 80, old Highway 80. This nice old Coast Live Oak trunk. Nice squat, lean tree. Beautiful tree. So I'm just gonna go poke around and check out a few of the plants in the area. And then start wrapping this up. Okay, Mexican Palo Verde. Here we go. Parkinsonia aculeata, another member of the pea family, Fabaceae. It's evidenced by those legumes. But look at the yellow flowers. It's not native here, but it is naturalizing in spots. We do have species of native Parkinsonias, sometimes still referred to in the genus as Circidium. This right here is our non-native, native to the tropical regions. Does very well here. Very well from the coast into the desert, the low desert. I guess these striking yellow flowers, sometimes it can be quite frequently through the year. So, yeah, so there's a good grandstand view of where I hiked earlier. There's Flinn Springs Peak, and there's Peak 1680. I don't think you can actually see the summit of it, but it's above there. Yeah, that's Flinn Springs Peak, Peak 1833, in other words. And there's Peak 1680. Wow, that was a good one. That was definitely pretty steep in spots, I'll tell you. Some spots was extremely steep, but if you got a good sense of, if you got at least a decent sense of balance, good hiking poles, and just take your time, you'll be fine. Really thoroughly enjoyed the botanical aspects of it as well. And those canyons and gullies, a couple of rare plants. How can you lose? All right, I'll see you back by the car pretty soon. The thing I love about this park is they're planting a lot of trees too. Right along this little roadway down to where I'm parked. I'm parked to the end of the parking lot. I can't see my car from here because of the trees blocking it. Look at these healthy California sycamores. These are beautiful young trees. You can tell they're growing very vigorously. They'll probably have a pretty quick, rapid growth rate for a while. So I'm parked here, I guess, right before the end of the lot is before you get to the, I guess there's some private residences in the area or something. But that's where I'm parked right there. Yeah, this was a good hike. And I chose to park down here. I thought it'd be closer. Let's take some time to enjoy these coast live oaks too. Beautiful trees. Beautiful coast live oaks. A couple sycamores pockmarking the area. And yes, there are Engelmann oaks in the area. Very beautiful place. Good place to start a hike. Really nice place. Here's that creek again. I gotta figure out the name of this. Alright, I'll see you down by the creek. We'll see if I can see any animals down there. Here you are by the creek. Cool little creek running through here. Ooh, there's an American sycamore, Platanus occidentalis, right on the other side of the creek. And when I saw the leaf on the ground, I knew that had to have been an American sycamore. Oh, that's sick. Yeah, that's Platanus occidentalis. Actually closely related to California sycamores I pointed out. Only these are native to the central and eastern half of the country. Not native here, but they grow pretty well here in our climate too. Wow. Look at this cool little creek bed over here. It's mostly just water striders, but no further up I saw some crawfish. Mostly the non-native Procomparus clarkii type. Swamp crayfish. Not native, but introduced here. I just love being around water features too. Yep. Speaking of sycamores, there is a native. That's the California sycamore, Platanus racemosa. So we have Platanus racemosa and Platanus occidentalis. Pretty cool. All right. Start working my way back. Maybe check out a couple more spots real quickly. I think it'll probably pretty much do it for this video. Yeah, I think it'll do it for this video. So thanks for watching. I don't want to make this a 3-hour video. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed coming along with me up to 2 pretty neat peaks above Flinn Springs County Park. Peak 1680 and Flinn Springs Peak, aka Peak 1833. Thanks for coming along, and I will see you on my next hike.